Are you looking for real, raw, and unfiltered news about what's happening in the greater Philadelphia area? Are you sick of all the vanilla takes about the local issues affecting our community right now? You're in the right place. Tune in to the Philly Face-to-Face podcast. We're sitting here in Devon, Pennsylvania. You got a lot of families that are spending a lot of money to send their kids here.
Sure.
Like when they're moving to the area, or like the real estate market comes into play, like how do you see that affect your school, and how do you feel like maybe the school affects the market? Like, tell me what's your take on that?
I think it's a little bit of both, Tom. The school definitely affects the market to some extent because we're in a great location.
Yep.
And the people that are living in this area generally are spending a good amount of money to be here. The push and pull is, okay, you're spending a lot of money maybe to live in this area, and you got a really good school district down the road.
100%.
But like I said, is that opportunity the best for your kid? We've had a lot of families that go through the process, the real estate process, that are looking to come into the area, that go through the application process, and it's tough on them.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
But I think that the school being here, it becomes you got a great school district. They're checking out online. They're talking to the realtor. They're going everything. But then they see, okay, private school opportunities. Wow, that's right in the backyard. How would we not want to take a look at an all-boys private school that's in the area? So it's been interesting to watch how everything moves. Obviously, the prices on the houses have.
It's a crazy market right now, yeah. It's pretty well held.
Have gone up, but they're not staying on market very long. But I think it has helped us in sort of the families that are looking our way, and when they compare our price point to some of the other private school
100%,
price points,
yeah.
We're competitive, and for what we offer, I think we fall in a really good kind of niche. We're in a wheelhouse for families that are looking for that for their kid.
Well, it's probably the same. I mean, every school's got a different sort of avatar. They got a certain, and yours is very diverse and very different, but there's a kind of like values, and that to me is what when I say avatar, it's like, what kind of values does someone have? Like what are they all about? What's their family all about? What are they looking to get out of this experience? And I mean, the fact that they're going through all these changes. So think about this. Like, it's really stressful just moving, number one.
Yep.
Then you're relocating from another area. Then you're also thinking about, and okay, now we're not going to send our kids to public school. We're going to do this. So that's got to be a lot of stress. So like, how do you guys walk people through the process? Like, I mean, I'd love to hear kind of how you make it easy, or what your process looks like for the people that are watching that may be thinking about sending their kids here.
Yeah. So again, in person, and I think whether people would be shocked to hear that, we've been having in-person meetings with families that are interested.
Well, I've seen all the plexiglass and everything. I mean, the safety protocols are here just because you guys can't see them. This is what's going on. I just want to make that super clear because, it's easy to say that, but like Patty kind of giving us a tour of what's going on. It's been, right next to us, they got 6 feet social distancing signs
right here,
all sorts of stuff.
The families are screened, so they come in. We have a scanner that's screening for temperatures. Everybody goes through that. They check into the main office, and then basically they get into the admission office. So once you're in that environment, it kind of, everybody diffuses a little bit. But we're able to have meetings in the admission office. We won't do tours while the kids are in session, but we'll do tours as soon as the day ends.
Makes sense.
Which again, it allows the kids to continue to move around, allows the parents that have their kids here to be comfortable with that. But then it gives the ability for parents that are looking at the school to get in here, and then for them to also feel comfortable. We are going to start our shadow days, which is when the students
I remember those when I went here.
Yep. What we're going to do is one kid a day. So back when you came here and when I was doing it, we would get 6, 7 kids, and we would kind of spread them out. We're going to limit it to one a day, but it means we're probably going to be packed with
it's every day's book,
kids. But one more kid in here with taking all the regular precautions is really not going to change the overall environment.
No different than me showing up here. I mean,
we did segment the 6th grade and the 7th grade and 8th grade, so they're in their own sections as well. So that helped with everything. But as far as the process, meeting in person, and it really is. It starts with the mission, and we stick to the mission, and then everything goes from there. And it's not we don't answer yes because that's what the family's looking for. Okay? If we realize early on that what the family's looking for and who we are aren't the same, we're going to guide them in the right direction. We're going to tell them that this probably isn't the right place for your family. It may be right for your kid, but not for your family.
It's a family decision. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
Yep.
you're dealing with minors. I mean, it's not.
You
I
got
mean, you know, I mean, maybe 17, 18 is a little different than
Yep.
14, 15, but you probably don't get a lot of seniors transferring in or that
No.
sort of thing.
We've seen some more juniors recently, again, just because of things that are happening, but it's a family decision. And usually we can tell earlier than they can tell. But open, direct conversation about what they're looking for, why they're looking for it, what's important. And then obviously having the conversation with the kids separately, getting his thoughts, his feelings, and then kind of coming back together and then being honest with where we feel the family, whether not necessarily fit, but whether they could enjoy the experience here or not enjoy it and look someplace else. You know, we're fortunate that way. I think public schools are stuck. They don't get to have those conversations with their families, and they're trying to figure out how to, you know, take care of all of those kids in one similar fashion, where as a smaller school, we can pivot and move in another direction like that.
Pivot is the word of 2020.
That's right.
Now.
Pivot
It's
is
the
the
theme,
word
right?
of 2020. But it's being honest. It's being open. It's still giving them the same experience. Come here. Come get the feel of what's happening here. You feel that good family experience that's happening here, then generally, I think there's a chance we can work this out throughout the process. Open about what we have to offer from a financial perspective, scholarship, financial aid. Having those conversations up front is really important. You don't want to walk anybody down a path that they end up, they can't stay here or they feel like you move the goalposts.
Yep,
You
I
know?
agree with that term a lot too. So this is interesting
Right.
stuff you're talking.
This is just normal, you know. They adapted our terminology, Tom. That's what I think happened. But it's you know, if you don't do that stuff, then you know you overpromise, you underdeliver. All those other cliches that are out there, you don't want to be in that situation. You want to be real, and you want to have the families be real back at you. So,
well, a lot of the stuff you're saying, that's the difference between a good organization, whatever you want to classify that, and a great one. You have the hard conversations up front. You give it to them straight. You give them all the news, whether they like it or not, and then they can make a well-informed decision for their family.
Exactly.
And if you're doing that, you're doing right by the public, and I love that.
yep.
So we covered a lot here. Pat's been awesome. If you guys have any questions, want to get in touch with the school, we're going to put all his contact info up in the podcast here. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
I think you're back here. It's been how long, right? Jeez, what do you think?
So, like I said, I mean, it's been 20 years since I graduated from here, and this school did not look like this from a physical standpoint when I was here. I mean, there's a whole huge addition in the back. What I see from a marketing and leadership standpoint is what you got to do in 2020. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, I reached out to Pat before this and I said, hey, you guys are open. This is awesome.
Yep.
And you know, that takes real leadership. And I know it's not just you. I know there's a lot of great teachers behind you. I know there's a lot. You have Father Aissa, who's the new headmaster. He's from Spain. So he didn't even know English, I think, for until recently. Which
Came in and learned it.
Yeah, that's. I remember Mike Collins, who was a teacher that was here when I was here in the history department. He had told me that when we had found out that they were having a new headmaster. So I think, you know, it's not just you; it's the people you brought in. It's everyone behind you. And what you see is, you know, when people start coming back and getting involved, that to me is the sign that someone's doing something right here. And I know it's not just you, but I give you guys a lot of credit for what's going on because it was a different type of school when I went here. Not in a bad way, just different. And you're adapting, you're pivoting like we talked about, and to me, that's really impressive. Just running another organization and being a business leader, because ultimately, this is not a business here, but you have to run it like a business if you want to get your kids the same results, meaning get them into the colleges they want to, have the experience they want to. And, you know, they're ultimately your consumer, and the consumer deserves better than what they get in a lot of cases.
That's exactly right. You think about it this way. So we completed, you know, a $5.5 million campaign. And within that campaign, $1 million Don't Leave a Challenge.
What does that mean for the people watching?
So we renovated a lot of campus, especially the main school building. $5.5 million renovation, or that, that was our capital campaign. And we fundraised all of that money. We ended up closing it out because an alum from the class of '87 agreed to do a $1 million challenge. So if we raised the last $1 million, he matched it with another $1 million. And we had from March of 19 to June of 20 to complete it. So, we ended up with the coronavirus situation. And I remember I called him and I said, how's everything going? He goes, I should be asking you how everything's going. What do you think? And I said, I think we're going to make it. And he was utterly shocked that we were in a position to close out his challenge. And at the time, we were about $70,000, $80,000 away. And I said to him, look, I think we can get this done in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be contacting you again very shortly to let you know.
That's awesome.
We met it. And sure enough, a couple phone calls later, we got the commitments, and I called him back, and he was floored. Because he even said to me, he said, look, when I put the challenge out, I wasn't sure. And he's like, I've heard all the things that are going on. I've met with you a bunch of times. I've met with Mike Collins.
Yep.
And I wasn't sure. And he goes, I can't tell you how happy I am. And I just said to him, like, what do you want? Where do you want the money to go? What do you want to do with the money? He's like, it's for Devon. You guys proved it. You're moving in the right direction. I'm glad to be a part of it.
And to be able to get alumni to come back like that and do that sort of thing, you got to be doing something right here first. Because a lot of times, when it comes, and I've seen these things with all kinds of organizations with schools, whether it's like a fraternity trying to raise money, or like colleges, or in your case, a high school, or even sometimes some elementary schools. I mean, it's always, we need to get the alumni back. But in order to really do that, you've got to do something that's going to make them want to come back, and that's a testament to all the people you got working here. Because I know they're not working here for the pay. I know they're not working, and I say that with a lot of love. I mean, it's they're here for the right reasons. Yeah. And when you've got a group of people committed to that, that's where growth happens, and that's where you can really be like an unstoppable force in whatever arena you're trying to compete in.
It's the truth. It's the truth. The people here are what make it happen.
I ran into two people I know all the time here. I mean, like Kevin, who I know for a long time, Gabriella, who I'm friends with her husband. So, I mean, all sorts of great people here. So, Pat's information's right here. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.